Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rider Time Archive here on the Morphin Network. I'm Mike, Time Rider Zero, your host. Well, actually, I kind of stopped using the name now, so you just have full access to my IG. And today, we're covering the final installment of our walkthrough of Kamen Rider Build. That's right, the second of two VSNX films, Kamen Rider Build New World, Kamen Rider Grease. And what can I say? Still a better film than Be the One, but I'm also not a fan of the fact that, yeah, we actually do kind of have to revisit that movie again. I think the one thing I probably hate about both VSNX films in this series is we have to, it takes us back to stuff that happened in the Be the One movie, which I was very vocal about not being a fan of. And while my co-host Steve is not able to make it because he has work, he did write some choice things about this movie. And honestly, while I don't agree with him to the same capacity, I totally get where he's coming from. I'm not gonna lie, VSNX, at least these two VSNX films, I don't know about X8 VSNX or Dry VSNX or any of the other VSNX in the future, because again, I've only ever watched the ones from W through Gaim. But yeah, oh yeah, and also there's the Forza one, which I'm going to get on Blu-ray. I already ordered it on Toe Collectibles, so I will watch that once that DVD comes out, and then we might go over it if we get when we get fives in our review list. Again, the good thing about going back to older seasons is that if there is a VSNX, it will have probably already come out. And that being the case, I don't have to worry about having it happen later. I could just do it as we go so that we're staying in the chronology of the series, just like how we did with Generations Final and Be the One. I'll say this, thinking back on it, Generations Final doesn't really connect to the first Generations movie, which I did watch. I did watch that one because it was a winter team-up film. Typically, as far as up to X8 goes, I did watch the winter films. So I did do that. I did watch the winter films. Oh, and I did see Generations Forever on Tubi/Pluto. So technically, I did watch the winter film for Geo before I saw Build, but it is what it is. So, getting into this movie, well, first we need to recap what happened in the previous movie. The series ended with two different versions of Earth colliding, where there was no Skywall, there was no Evolt, but somehow Evolt still freaking showed up because Cell Nucleus from the Cell games latched itself onto Banjo. So of course we got our little moment right here. Oh wow, what's going on?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And of course, turns out that he had a brother, apparently.
Oh, hell no!
And it still bothers me that he had a brother this whole time, and he was never mentioned throughout the entire 49 episodes of the show, or even in the movie where they introduced 3 other members of Evolt species. And freaking, you're not going to mention, oh, there's a 4th one, by the way. There's my brother. So technically there's 5 of us. 6 if we count Bernage. I don't know if Bernage is a blood. I'm not quite sure. I know she's the queen of Mars, but I don't know if she's a blood. Let me know in the comments if you know if she is a blood. And yes, blood is the actual name of the species. So yeah, Stark's no, sorry. Evil's brother, who I already forgot the name of because do we really care about this character, was able to use Banjo to reactivate Pandora's box in order to bring back everyone's memories and ultimately become an evil version of Build, where he's just Kamen Rider Blood. And of course, this also revives Evil, who teams up with Banjo, and then the two of them work together, oddly enough, because you need the power of a half-blood and half-human in order to defeat you. And of course, they defeat the guy. Banjo gets a new girlfriend, and we strangely get no reference to the other Banjo and Chi-chan, which do exist in the same universe. And the weirdest part about that is Dr. Katsuragi, both senior and junior, are in Build New World. So what's going on over there? Yeah, so so that's where we left off. Most of the characters lost their memories. The ones that got them back, it is established in this episode that only the characters that were exposed to nebula gas got their memories back. So because apparently Utsumi was not exposed to nebula gas, he was just a cyborg the whole time, he has no memory of it, but somehow he still gets his memories back in this movie. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so we have a movie within a movie of the otaku who dates his idol, where our boy Kasumi tries to go on a date with Misora, and she rejects him horribly because she doesn't want to be Mitan anymore. So yeah, no, I will not be your body pillow anymore. Goodbye. And he and his posse get so upset they go on a boat to seek out a new fortune. Long story short, they crash land on another island. They find a hot springs, and they ended up crashing back due to weird reasons. But what is happening while they were gone? Well, it turns out Dr. Katsuragi Sr. Was able to build a build driver because we got our memories back, so we know how to develop the technology that we had in the other world. Okay, but don't tell the other organization that we have that ability, because if they do, we're going to be in for a lot of trouble. I know. But turns out one of their members had the memories too, because as it turns out, he was the original Zebra Smash from the events prior to be the one in the movie. That is such a random... I have no words for it. That is such a random character to bring back. My issue with the three candidates from the Be the One movie is they made it seem like they were in the background of the actual TV show, but they never appeared in the background of the actual TV show. They're trying to gaslight us into thinking that, but you'd think they would at least have some kind of screen appearance, even though a small one, just to sow the seeds. So you're like, oh my god, that background character was the main villain all along? Like, even Utsumi had a better behind-the-scenes villain role than this guy did, or those guys did. But apparently the guy who's the Zebra Smash before the guy in charge of Sato, was it? Yeah, the guy in charge of Sato. Yeah, he is the main villain here. And yeah, clean-shaven Gentoku, and I'm not gonna lie, it is weird to see him clean-shaven because I almost did not recognize him. Becomes Kamen Rider Rogue. He tries to fight off this group of terrorists that are led by the Zebra Smash, well, former Zebra Smash. But, he fails, and the former Zebra Smash, and along with a bunch of his Caucasian troopers, yes, like they look very Northern European. They look they're probably American, but they look so Northern European. It's like I feel like I'm watching the movie Midsommar all over again. If that Swedish cult actually like became militarized or something. Like he's got the whole blonde hair, blue eyes thing going. And they only speak English. It's like Kamen Rider Saiga on. It's like Saiga drank extra milk, flour, sugar, and eggs, and toilet paper. You're probably wondering, am I laughing or am I crying? I don't have words for that. Retroactively, I still am mad that Ben and John did not become Kamen Riders in Kamen Rider Deeds, which, by the way, you could legally watch on the Plex app. And more importantly, pre-order the Blu-ray on Tokusatsu. We are not sponsored by them, but still order Tokusatsu products. But yeah, no, for real though, it's so weird watching them, and yeah, they become these like tactical smashes. There's a name for it, but I don't even care enough to actually learn them. I don't even care enough to learn the main villain's name because it's just so redundant. He's not even memorable. There's like, what's his motivation other than I want to rule the world or see the world burn? It's not quite clear because we're generic VSNX villains. Like, who even cares? No one's even going to watch this. But people are still going to buy our Bandai Premium products. Yeah. Yeah, no, for real though. And that's where we get to the part where Kasumi comes back. And I gotta say, for a movie that's supposed to be focused on Kasumi gets very little character focus on here, if I'm being honest. I mean, he is technically the main character here. He gets the new form, his friends go through stuff, but the thing is, it's like he's such a background to the main plot, and then the plot's just thrust upon him. It's like imagine watching the show Kamen Rider Build, except you're watching it from the perspective of Kasumi. More accurately, imagine watching the first 16 episodes of the show, but from Kasumi's perspective. That's what this movie feels like, except I think actually making a plot about the first 16 episodes from Kasumi's perspective would have been a lot more interesting to watch than this actual film. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like there's more interesting stuff happening here than they did in Cross Z, but they occur more sporadically than they did in Cross Z, because at least in Cross Z you could just skip to the second half of the movie and you're good to go. Here it's like it's just really disjointed. Anyway, so our main quartet show up and they're greeted by this dude. It's like, hello guys, how are you doing? I'm here to kill you. And of course he transforms into a monster, and of course the rest of them are like, oh yeah, but we're gonna transform. He's like, what? How is this and he's saying it in English, how is this happening? This isn't supposed to be possible. And then Kasumi says something that that probably a lot of Japanese people want to say to Americans. If you're gonna be in my country, learn to speak Japanese. Kind of right though. It's kind of right though. You know how many Americans probably come to Japan not speaking a lick of Japanese, and they expect people to have subtitles in real life? I wish that was just a meme, you know, because like people make jokes about that, but unfortunately, it is a real thing. Props to the American tourists that actually went out of their way to learn even some conversational Japanese to be able to actually communicate with the locals, or at least have the humility to get a tour guide and have the tour guide translate for them. But there's always solo American tourists who don't bother learning Japanese and expect the actual Japanese locals to either already know English or to magically have actual subtitles like they do in their Crunchyroll streams or their Netflix streams or their Kaizoku streams, which, by the way, we do not officially condone on this channel. Just saying. You don't condone the Kaizoku thing. So, I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of funny. The four of them do beat the guy up, and he does fly away. And of course, they get contacted by Gentoku, saying, "Hey, could you bring the white panel? I need to talk to you about something." Yeah, I'm gonna need you to bring the white panel. Oh, and by the way, could you bring me some protein while we're at it? And I'm thinking, he said protein. Okay. I feel like if you did not watch Cross C, which you very well could have not watched, it's like you're trying to understand why all these characters have their memories back. Yeah, you kind of have to watch these two movies back to back, let's be honest. He's like, oh yeah, protein, that's right. He's not a muscle, like where have you heard protein before? Oh, that's right. It's King Protein himself, Cross C. So I'm expecting him to show up. So I'm expecting Kasumi to show up with Banjo, because Banjo's got his powers. He did turn into that whole Evolt form with full control over it, and he did call himself King Protein. So you're thinking, yeah, he's gonna we're gonna hopefully. What I would have liked to see, what we never got to see in the original series and would want to see, is Crossy Magma team up with Grease Blizzard, because you got fire and ice working together, even though magma is actually earth, not fire. It's just liquid rock. But point is, hot, cold, yes, no, in, out, fight, break up, kiss, makeup. You say black, I say white. You say Jaws, I say crush now. Don't believe in Peter Pan. Frankenstein and Superman. All I want to do is Kamen Ride, Kamen Ride, Kamen Ride. Okay, I'm done. Okay, I have my moment. But turns out Mr. Zebra has a new belt which allows him to turn into Tank Hazard. What? Why? How? But what? No, seriously, George from Revice has a good point. What? Rightfully so. Ao does have a problem seeing this. Black. I hate seeing build wear black, and I totally get why. We've seen episode 20. Yeah, episode 20. We know what happened to Aoki. Yeah, poor guy. I was hoping this would be a good moment for him to actually show off some heightened skills, see how he improved since the last time. But unfortunately, the enemy is also physically stronger and less polite than Sento is, so it goes about as well as you think it'd go. The three of them get injured and dead? Do they? No, they're not actually dead. It's just a bruise. Naturally, our homeboy gets mad. He uses Blizzard. He knows he's gonna die, like he was supposed to kill him last time, but for some reason he doesn't die from it, which is good. But on the upside, we actually do get to see Blizzard in the daylight and get more screen time than he normally would. So yeah, so we get one piece of improvement from there. One good thing actually does happen. We actually get to see Blizzard more clearly, because before he would only get a little bit of screen time. Technically, it's a whole episode, but still, like when you stack it together, it's only like 7 minutes of total screen time, and it's in a very dark room, so you barely even see it. Then again, why is Cross Z not with him? I was really hoping to see. I feel like this is the biggest missed opportunity. Like we had the opportunity to have Hot and Cold together at last, because it's been hinted at in the show. We wanted to see it. We never got to see it, partly because Grease actually did die in that one episode. But yeah, it just hurts. It just hurts seeing such wasted potential. But again, we do at least see Blizzard, even if we don't see Blizzard with Mag. So, take what you can. But unfortunately, Zebra, I'm just going to call him Zebra because, again, he used to be the Zebra Smash, didn't bother learning his name. I don't care about his name. Oh, by the way, this dude is so sadistic. He kills 2 people on screen with gunfire. And we see blood splatter. Like, I know Kamen Rider is a kid's show, but is more violent compared to American shows. But I rarely see actual blood splatter in Kamen Rider. Occasionally, characters get injured where like they have like blood stains, but you don't see a person freaking have their blood splattered. Although there might have been like some exceptions, like for example with Amazon when he uses Daisetsudan, like he does have like color, like the monsters have colorful blood like spew out. But the thing is, they're monsters, first of all, not humans, and it's not red. So it's kind of like how Samurai Jack tried to censor the gore of the show by like making all the enemies robots. So like when blood is spilled, it's actually oil. So it's like, oh, it's black instead of red. So when he's all covered in black oil, it's like we're like secretly we know it's supposed to be red. He's covered in blood, and because it's such a visceral fight scene. But no, because it's Cartoon Network, it's oil and it's black, which makes me wonder how long is it going to take for Jack to wash all that oil off his body. But it is what it is. But dang, we see straight up blood splatter, like when he kills 2 characters, and one of them was his own men, because turns out the white panel from an earlier scene was a dud, but and that's why he has to bring the real white panel. But then he also kills his superior, the one in charge of the operation, because turns out I was the mastermind all along. But he does get his hands on the white panel, so he becomes Kamen Rider Phantom build. Basically, he takes the armor of his 3 foot soldiers and combines them. So there's like a tank, a fighter jet, and a third thing that is not quite recognizable. It's okay. You don't notice it at first, but yeah. But when you have a nice screenshot of it, you do notice that you got 2 fighter jets sticking out of his helmet from a side view. So, okay, I see what those white parts are. When you watch the movie as it's happening, you don't really notice it. So, yeah. I like the tactical colors, but it's just not very impressive of a design. I just don't care for it. Finally, all our characters, including Utsumi, who got his memories back all of a sudden after finally making the perfect pipe that doesn't snap. And that's another thing. Throughout these entire 2 films, Utsumi's obsessed with building a pipe that won't snap when you smash it against your knee. Again, it's a reference to Namba and how like he destroyed that cane in that one episode. It just feels out of left field is all. But yeah, they all combine, they all use their powers, and yeah, Grease gets a new form that combines the powers of his three quote unquote fallen friends. So he's got a little bit of that. He's got a little bit of that Red Castle, Blue Beetle, and no reference to DC, and Yellow Owl motif in there. And look, he's got red, blue, yellow, and gold in there. Same four colors of Go Busters, and more specifically Grid Battle Force, because Grid Battle Force doesn't give Steel enough credit as the Silver Ranger. But now that I think about it, if you really look at his design, if we really wanted to, Nate Silva could have used this suit as a battleizer. Just think about it for a moment. Like, what if, just what if, there was an episode, just a one-off episode, where Devin, Zoe, and Ravi were incapacitated. And then he had to combine their three powers with his own beetle powers, or praying mantis, as it is in the American version, which doesn't make sense. But I will say this. Those blue stag horns, which are actual beetle horns, could be used as mantis claws. And here we have a reasonable excuse to use a beetle as a praying mantis motif. Now, can you imagine if this was used as a battleizer in Beast Morphers? Even if it was just for one episode. I could really see that happening. Oh, and there are those little silver parts at the bottom of his vest, so maybe he could use all 5 of those Ranger powers, not just the main 4. It's just that silver is very minimally present in this suit compared to the other 4 colors, so that's why I kind of left steel out. But yeah, it's an okay form. I don't hate it. It's very, very decorated. I appreciate what it's going for. I like the theory behind it. I just feel like it's a little cobbled. Not too cobbled, but just a smidge cobbled. And too many colors going around. I understand. We're supposed to combine the whole red, blue, yellow, gold thing from the 4 main characters. It just feels weird. Because, I don't know, I feel like we should just stick to 3 colors. Just stick to 3 colors. Oh, yeah. And it's completely unimportant, but Ro gets a new form as well. Even though it's still supposed to be Prime Crocodile. That's what it's called, Prime Crocodile. Honestly, it gives me Stag Beetle vibes more than it gives me Crocodile vibes. I mean, to be fair, the original suit also gave me Stag Beetle vibes. But this one gives me Stag Beetle vibes more than the original did. But at least he still has the fragile sticker on the back of his head. So there's that. Finishing things off, they have a fight. All the main characters get their finishers. Now it's just down to Grease versus Phantom build. And you combine the powers of his 3 fallen friends. He makes an epic finishing move that allows him to defeat Phantom Bill. He's like, the reason why you lost is because you have no one to fight for. You don't have friends. I get it. Power, friendship, and all that. I totally get it. But that's pretty much the end of it. Epilogue-wise, by the way, one thing I did not mention is during the date at the start of the film is Kasumi did ask Misura if she wanted to go to a hotel room with him and talk all night, which is a reference to the first episode when Gentoku asked Sawa if she wanted to go to a hotel and talk all night. We all know what that actually means. I don't know if Japanese kids know what that means. I love that Sawa even mentioned, what do you think it means over the phone? But it just feels weirder when when Kasumi says it to Misora, because at least Gentoku and Sawa are relatively the same age. Misora gives me the vibes that she's a 19-year-old kid. And yeah, even though you're of legal age, honestly, to me, anything under 21 is still a kid. And of course, Kasumi is supposed to be 22, even though the actor is 32. It just feels weird that, he's asking her to, go to a hotel room and talk all night. But it just so happens that Gentoku and Sawa went to a hotel room and chatted till dawn. Yeah. This happened. Yeah. And they didn't hide it too. I mean, don't get me wrong, the way they announced it is cute. It's adorable. It's just wow. Just wow. I have no words for this. I have no words for this one. More power to you, I suppose. At least things worked out. You wouldn't think that they would work out that way because there was such a hate relationship between them at the start of the series. But just wow. Just wow. I'm not against it here. I'm just a little speechless is all. But then at the end of the movie, Misora finally asks Kasumi out on a date, and she makes it clear it's a date. And of course, he makes this cute, dumb face, but it's like, when did she suddenly fall in love with him? I know there was a thing where she wrapped her arms around him when he died in episode 45, but no, wait, not 45, episode 47. But here she's like, I hate you. When did that thing click that you suddenly like this guy romantically? That's the one thing I don't get. Anyways, that's the movie. I don't know what to say. It mostly felt like, if I'm going to watch a Visa Next, I want the Visa Next to make the characters more robust. I want it to add to the character something that gives them more depth. I don't hate fillers in anime. If the filler improves the story. For example, take Naruto. That entire nearly 90 episode filler between Sasuke leaving Konoha to the time skip, all of that was redundant. Now, the first 12-ish episodes of that, I could give it a pass because they were trying to do reconnaissance on finding where Orochimaru's base was, and they did introduce Inoshika Cho as a full combination that is done generationally, and of course they use it against the very first villain of the series, Mizuki, which was not bad fan service. But after you get to the one where Rock Lee has to fight one of a fake member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist, all the filler from that point on, you could just skip it. Nothing important ever happens. And then when you get to Shippuden, season 3 was a good filler. It adds to Asuma's character before he's killed by Hiden. It makes you care about the character more. You learn more about his philosophy, his way of life before he passes it on to Shikamaru. That is a filler I can respect. But then season 8 of Shippuden, you just go back to the pre-time skip to make even more fillers. And they don't add to the characters in any way whatsoever. So it's like, why? At least in some of the fillers of the Great Ninja War, they had flashbacks, but it's because they're fighting dead characters from their childhood. So you do need to get some stuff filled in, but again, it doesn't really add up too much. Now, on the subject of this, didn't really add anything to Kasumi. Kasumi is no better or worse of a character after this V-Snex than he was when he first died in episode 47. It's like, what are you adding to it? Heck, I would even make the argument that that the Cross Z V-Snex did more to evolve Evil's character than it did to Banjo. I mean, actually, I will say this. I do like the idea of Banjo abandoning people because he was being selfish, and now it's coming back to bite him in the ass. But the thing is, I feel like that would have worked better in the main series than it would have in the V-Snex. Heck, if that was the plot of Be the One, the movie, I would prefer that than either what we ended up with for Be the One or for the Crossy Build New World. As far as this movie's concerned, I give it an 8. It was okay. Feels like an extended filler episode that doesn't serve anything to the plot. And while Steve was not available to show up, he did tell me his opinions on the two movies, on both of the two movies. So I'm gonna switch to my messages just to read it out for you guys. So okay, so he wrote, here's my thoughts on the two films. While Crossy gave us more explanation on how they regained their memories and tried to live their lives in the new world, both Banjo and Sato, I think introducing a new a brother to Evolt is a disrespect to the character and its plans in the main story. Kind of agree with that, because again, why are there so many Bloods and why didn't they show up sooner? And dare I say, his brother's more of a JoJo than Evolt is. I mean, look, I kind of made the Pillarman joke, so it's funny that he mentions that. A basic story, but ending and characters are meh. Okay, I totally get it. As for the Grease film, it was filler. Besides the ending, nothing major really happens, which is kind of sad. I thought diving into Cosme would be fun, but meh. Both films feel unnecessary, to be honest. When the first half of Cross Z did answer, after that, I was left confused. I mean, I don't think I was as confused. I was more like dumbfounded as like, why are we even doing this sort of thing? I mean, I know these movies mainly exist to sell merchandise, but at least make it enjoyable. I mean, if the TV show also exists to sell merchandise, why aren't the V-Synexes giving the store the same respect that the TV show is? So, final thoughts on Kamen Rider Build, now that we're all the way at the end of this. Honestly, the main thing I can say is it was a good series. The movies were lackluster. If you just watch the 49 episodes, I think you will love it. If you watch the movies too, it's like you'll still like the TV show. You just won't care for the movies. And now that I've seen all 4 movies, I can honestly say, yeah, I don't really care for the movies. I mean, Generations Final was all right, but it's mostly because it actually put focus onto AG, Ankh, and mainly AG and Ankh, let's be honest. Actually, now that I even think about it, they could have just done an O's versus Build crossover and just called it a day. You could even get rid of X8, Force 8 Ghost. And that hurts me saying because I like Force 8. But yeah, Force 8 Ghost, Gaim, and X8, they were all pretty much redundant in that film. It was mainly just O's and Bill that were important to the story. And even then, but at least that movie was fun. It was fan servicey, but still fun. Be the One, not a great film. The V-Synex, they're optional. They have good ideas, not executed to the best of their ability, but still not as bad as Be the One. as a whole, I would give the entire season a 9 out of 10 because while the TV show is perfect, the movies really drag it down. The thing about the first 10 Showa, not Showa, Heisei, is they didn't have as many movies, so most of their scores would rely more on the actual show than the movies. But the next 10 phase, it's just they pumped out so many movies that we have to actually factor the movies into our final scores, and it hurts me because if the movie sucks, it just drags down on the TV show, which could otherwise be perfect. Heck, again, by itself, just the 49 episodes of Build is a perfect 10. It's a fantastic Rider season, right up there with Kabuto and O's and 01 and Geats. Those were all fantastic seasons, but just this the movies drag it down, and I hate it. Let's see, Misura, great female lead. I wish they did more with her, but I love how she does try to pull all the other characters together. And she does it better than some other female protagonists have in the past. Sawa is an almost forgettable character, if not for the fact that you have the plot twist of her being a member of Namba Industries. But once you get past that, she basically fades into the background. She has very little importance to the story. But even though I actually do like the fact that she does have that 180 with Gentoku. Gentoku was a fantastic character. He's the sleazy, despicable character you hate at the start of the series, but then you start to like him once you find out that, like, hey, he's got daddy issues, but he learns to redeem himself over time, and you actually do start to care about him. So much respect to him. Kasumi, I like where they started with him. I like where they went with him. I'm just not that big of a fan of this movie because, again, it just does not add anything to his character. And I love the camaraderie he has with his three best friends. And I love how they would be willing to sacrifice anything for him. It does become dull, though, when he's constantly obsessing over Misura to the point that he exhausts an entire month's worth of food budget just to hold her hand. Well, while that did not actually happen, he did offer to do that. So he's kind of creepy, but he grows on you in certain ways, which takes us to Banjo. Banjo is a sweet, precious character. He's a knucklehead, but we love him, and I love that over time he has to learn to become a hero as opposed to starting out as a hero. In a way, you could almost think that Banjo was supposed to be the main character, but it's more. But you're doing it from the perspective of Sento. So in a way, you sort of have a more Holmes and Watson type of angle between the two of them, where one of them is supposed to be the hero, but the other person is the one narrating the story. So certain aspects of their dynamic are kind of skewed to the favor of the narrator, which takes us to Sento. He's a fantastic main character. He doesn't go through too much development, but he also doesn't need to because he's a scientist. He uses science for the greater good, and he tries to live by that. And one of my most favorite scenes was when he was trying to rewire that lamp to say, like, hey, as you spend time with your dad, you'll be able to build new memories, and eventually the old memories will come back. That was really lovely. Villains. Evolt was kind of fun. Things got a little repetitive with them, mainly the backstabbing thing. But what really drags all the villains down as a whole is, one, they're always stabbing each other in the back, mainly the two politicians. And to be fair, they're under the advice of Evolt to begin with, but still. But the one thing that really drags down the entire ensemble of villains is literally the fact that you have all these other blood characters that are never mentioned in the show, but somehow 3 of them appear in the movie, and another one appears in the VSNX, because it's like, why? Why? I mean, if they establish that, like, oh, this other character is the Evolt of this universe, as opposed to the original Evolt, or maybe in this universe, Evolt had a brother, even though he didn't have one in the other universe, but in this universe, Evolt's brother killed him, so now he needs to kill the other Evolt. That would have explained things a lot better. But, you know, in the words of Steve Wang, where were you when we were looking for an executive producer? But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the characters and series. As far as the themes go, there's a lot of good themes, mainly the atrocities of war, all morality being gray when it comes to war, because you have to choose between defending your nation versus attacking other nations, having to deal with arms races in order to prepare for imminent destruction. How much science goes into the ethics of politics and conflict. Those are interesting subject matters, and I love having them explored in the main 49 episodes of the TV show. I wish more series would do it this well. Again, the movies are just filler. I just don't care for them. I'm just glad to be over and done with for the movies, because I'd rather move on to the next series. So we only have 2 comments tonight. So excited that you guys are finally covering the end of Build. It was a fantastic season. I'm glad you guys covered it first as far as main timeline goes. Yeah, we did do Amazon and Black Sun already, but they were not in the main timeline. So yeah, as far as the main Showa Heisei Reiwa goes, this is the first season that we tackled on the archive, because when we did Writer Time podcast, we mainly did 01 very briefly, because we started late, COVID happened, and we didn't have this beautiful platform that we have now. And moving forward, we did Saber, Revice, Geets, and now we're doing Gotchard. Right now, we're still in the middle of Gotchard. We did promise we're going to revisit 01 in the future, because, again, fair chance, we had to rush the first 2 arcs just to catch up to the main series. So it's like literally the first video we did, episodes 1 through 16, and then the second video we did was literally episodes 17 through 29. So it's like 16 episodes plus 13 episodes, and like we just rushed through it. Then we did 30 and 31 together, so that we do 32, 33, 34, 35, and then skip 30, 36, 37, 38. And then we did 39 and 40 together, and then so on and so forth. So, you know, it was a weird time. I'm glad we are past it. But yeah, we will go over 01 in a more concise pacing. But with that in mind, what's the next series that we're going to be covering? Well, it just so happens that just like when we finished Amazons, we have a roulette to go over what we are going to do next. So on the wheel, we have this list of series. Now, I did have to take out some of them. Mainly, I took out Build because we did finish Build, but I also took out some of the other ones. So I took out Decade because that series, I feel like we need to cover it after we finish all the first 9 seasons of Heisei. The order we cover those 9 seasons doesn't matter, as long as we don't do Decade until we finish those 9 seasons. Once we finish all 9 of them, it's going to go back into the roulette. Geo, same thing. For that one, we need to finish all of the first 19 seasons. Or actually, no, we just have to finish season W through Build. So that one, we completed the first of 9 requisites. We're not doing Black RX until we finish Black, and we're not doing Sky Rider until we finish Ichigo through Stronger. So, what is the season that we're going to be covering? Let us spin and find out. What's going on? Raider time. Oh, Kiva. Kiva's going to be the next season we're going to be covering, which is fantastic because that means we get a double dose of Kasumi's actor. It's actually kind of funny because Amazon had Banjo's actor, but now Kasumi's actor is going to be Kiva. So yeah, this is what we're going to be covering for the next couple of episodes. We're going to be doing Kamen Rider Kiva, which should take about 3 to 4 months to cover in its entirety. Because, again, we are doing all the movies, and there are 2 films for this series, and both of them take place in the middle of the series instead of the very end of it, like or towards the end, like some of them do. So yeah, we're doing Kamen Rider Kiva. Yeah. So join us next time as we cover the next couple of episodes of Kiva. Here we go. This is going to be fun. And what's even more interesting is that this is one of the seasons where it started in January and ends in January, as opposed to starting in September. So dividing up the arcs is going to be very interesting. But we'll get to that next week. In the meantime, if you enjoyed watching us discuss the entirety of Kamen Rider Build, you could give us a follow, like, subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ding the bell icon to stay notified for our latest videos. Please be sure to share and comment to our videos to other people because that helps us out with the algorithms, get us out to more people. Yeah, so we do Ultraman Tiga on Mondays, Gotchar on Wednesdays, King Oger, final episode this upcoming week on Thursdays, and then we're going to replace that with Boom Boonger. Then we're going, then on Sundays, we're going to be doing Kamen Rider Kiva. I'm excited. I'm high-key excited. And of course, check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do movie reviews, video game news, etc. We finished Crow Month in January, so be sure to check out our 4 reviews of that series. We just uploaded 2 vlogs recently, one of Simi Valley Touring Comic Fest from last year, and then more recently, just the other day, we uploaded our vlog for Pasadena Comic-Con 2024. It was an amazing time. We got to meet Sam Jones, Vinny Appice. There were a lot of Power Ranger actors, Bleach actors, and so on and so forth. A lot of cosplayers this time around. There's always been a lot of cosplayers, but I really liked a lot of the cosplays there. So if you want to check out our vlog, please do so on The Buttery Show. And if you want to say hi to us in person, I will be there tomorrow, as of the time of the recording, at the Grand Vista Hotel in Simi Valley for the Simi Valley Touring Comic Fest 2024. Every year they do a different theme. This year it's going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! So originally it was Power Rangers, then Avatar, then Digimon, and now it's Yu-Gi-Oh! What the next theme is going to be? Well, I will try to find out tomorrow. But if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, you want to meet some of the voice actors, or you want to meet some Yu-Gi-Oh! Cosplayers, or find some rare cards, possibly the Blue Eyes White Dragon, definitely come to the Simi Valley Touring Comic Fest at the Simi Valley Grand Vista Hotel. And be sure to order the special collector pin shaped like the Millennium Puzzle. So that's going to be a load of fun. And again, you say hi to Scott, say hi to me, say hi to anyone else who might be there. And we'll see you guys there. And if you want to check out my personal content, you could find me on. Hold on, give me a second. Where's it? Where's it? Where did it disappear to? Where did my thing disappear to? Hold on. Did it? Oh man, did it get cut? That's weird. Oh well. Anyways, you can find me on. Oh no. You can find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic time at the Simi Valley 20 Comic Fest if you happen to be there. If not, I'll see you guys on Monday for Ultraman Tiga. And with that said, guys, have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.